Hello everyone and welcome to the indie scene. My name is H. Tenchi and today we'll be taking an early look at Risk of Rain by Paul Morse and Duncan Drummond of Hopu Games. Risk of Rain is an action platformer with untold levels of fun and randomized elements. Like any good roguelike worth its salt, there are a ton of items to make you stronger, many classes to give you a variety and personalization, and lots of enemies and bosses to make you dead. Each time you play, you will find that the monsters, item, and boss spawns have changed places, leading to great replayability and enjoyment. Since Risk of Rain is still in development, gameplay may change upon release, fall 2013, for the PC. Now, as you can see here, I've kind of cycled through the little characters. Hopefully you can stop and read them if you have any. Well, if you don't decide to go to riskofraingame.com, but you can actually look at them here. Huntress used to be one of my main characters that I really liked just clicked right off the bat. The Huntress is extremely proficient in kiting. So when you're using her abilities, you don't stop. You don't root down in movement and shoot them. You actually can continue running. She is the only person that can do that at the moment. As you can see here, there's actually, I forget his name, but he's an unlockable character, I believe, through single player. I don't play single player a lot. They actually just released an alpha multiplayer, and it runs really, really well, actually. So I'm really looking forward to as it continues along. But there will also be I'm assuming at least 3 more characters involved with the full release. So we will go with our engineer, and I'm not going to try and get him nerfed, but my God, is he OP. Seriously. So in the top left, you'll see my money. In the bottom, you'll see my level, health, experience bar, abilities, my on-use item if I find one. And then in the top right, you'll see a timer for how long we've played. The longer I play, the harder the game will get. So the more that bar up there will fill up. As that bar fills up as those segments get filled up, the game will get harder. The difficulty says very easy right now, even though we are on the normal difficulty, because this is a secondary difficulty that, well, I think makes the game a lot of fun. I'm going to drop a mine, and he's going to explode. Open a chest, get some experience, woot woot. So, what that's going to do is every 5 or 4 minutes or so, I think it might get shorter and shorter as the difficulty rises, the game will get harder. It'll start spawning more monsters, harder monsters, elite versions of the monsters, which you'll see with like little, their health will be colored differently because it's shown like multiple levels of the health bar. And then also, it'll spawn bosses and elite versions of the bosses. So that's something I'm going to need to work out as we play. There is fall damage, but you got to fall pretty far, and it's relatively minimal damage. You do regenerate health over time, and oh wow, it's right there, right off the bat. Okay, it's spawned in a weird spot, but that's just I break games. I'm sorry. It's a really good game. I've never actually had any problems with the game. Okay, so we're gonna get Magma Worm. You can see his health at the top, and I'm dropping a bunch of my landmines. I'm also going to set up my turrets, and they're going to go ahead and do some damage. They'll also actually tank damage and aggro the enemies too, which is really good if you don't have like maybe a co-op partner that's maybe like handy, or one of the other melee units like Acrid even maybe, to kind of take some of the aggro. Now the first time you get, I don't know if it's a guarantee or not, or if it's just a really high chance, you can get those logged, and it'll actually show in the bestiary, the stuff about, about the character and the different stuff in the game, like the monsters for that matter. Nice, so we have a chance when we hit enemies to stun them. That also works usually with our abilities too. And before I get into what my abilities do, I'll tell you that right now I am playing on a new save. This is actually a new version right out now. And we're also going to deal with this timer. So even though we've killed the boss, we have to stay alive and kill the rest of the enemies. The enemies will continue to spawn as long as the timer's going, which is a minute and a half after you start the teleporter, or the boss encounter. So as you can see right above me, it's going to keep clicking along, and then it'll tell me how many enemies we have left. Once we've cleared the boss and all remaining enemies on the level, the enemies will stop spawning finally as 90 seconds hits. Well, I'll take 2 more enemies. Nice. Oh, nice. Because we've completed the first stage in under 5 minutes for the first time in this save file, we've unlocked the stopwatch, which can actually freeze time. But now enemies will no longer spawn, and the green arrow will show us not only where the enemies are, but in this case, since there are no enemies, it'll actually show us where the teleporter is to leave. So we've picked up a bustling fungus. It heals quickly, or heals us quickly when standing still for 2 seconds. Can be really good depending on what your character is. Since the level is completed and we beat it pretty quickly, I'm going to kind of run around and use this money. Now, the money, if you don't use it, will actually turn into experience, but I really much prefer... Oh, nice. Concussion grenades. So that's actually going to stack, increasing the stun percentage. All items will stack, doing different things depending on what the item is. And also, we have a little drone that I picked up from the ground that was crashed, and he's going to shoot stuff for us with a machine gun. If we can pick up another one, but if it goes down, if it destroys itself, or it gets destroyed by enemies attacking it, which is a possibility, you can actually pick it back up, and I think it's double the price every time you resurrect it or repair it. There is an item that will actually repair them every so many seconds, an on-use item. And then there's also... Oh, well, there it is right there, the mechanics box. You know what? That's a bleed on hit chance. Let's do this. What is that? Alien head. Reduces cooldowns for my... Wow. That's really good, actually. See, there's over 100 items in the game. There's still items I haven't seen, and I play the living heck out of this game. This game is a lot of fun, and you can see I'm kind of frantically talking about everything that's going on, and I'm wasting time, which is going to make... my loot lust is taking over right now, but it's going to make the game a little harder. There's so much in this game that it's ridiculous. Like, I've played it non-stop for hours, and I actually got one of my good buddies, Spooter W, to come in and play it on stream too, and we had a blast. Like, he actually plays, one of his favorite characters is Handy, which is the gigantic mech. He has a lot of health, hits stuff with a hammer. Oh, nice, 2 little dronies. And also, has a couple buffs and such. Okay, so we played the shrine. It's like random gambling, and it'll go up every time. Each shrine will go up. It'll count for both or all players, depending on how many you have in the game. And because we failed that, it just gave us some experience. So it's still, it's still good. It's just I'd rather have gotten an item for $17 because that's super cheap. Now that we're down to $3, there's no enemies spawning. How about we head to the teleporter and go to the next stage? The next stage will randomly be a stage, either like the snow stage, the alien stage is what I call it, this stage, and there's a few others. Oh, let's go. But the only thing that changes on that really is going to be the fact that... Oh, the Sky Meadows. This is an interesting one. This is actually a really interesting one once you see the enemies that are fighting us. The layout of the stage is the same, but the placement of items, where the enemies spawn, what items you get, and what boss you fight are all randomized. So it's actually really nice that the stage is the same, because you can then use that strategically to know where to go and where to fight, where to look for stuff, and have an idea. Because trust me, oh wow, that was lucky. Might as well do it. From what I could tell, as soon as you get to the second level or so, just start it up as soon as you can. Oh, Magma again. Okay. Actually, the Magma I think has a pretty high chance of proccing. I see him quite a lot, but he's definitely my favorite. He's relatively easy to kill, and, well, he's just really cool looking. You can also see that he has different segments, and each segment can take damage. So if you have an item that hits multiple things, such as, well, this grenade launcher, you can actually rack up quite a bit of damage. And you can see me jumping around a lot. It's not just because I used to play too many MMOs. It's, oh, we lost one of our robots. As you can see, the other one's smoking. He will repair himself, actually, by himself if we just get him out of combat for a little while, or away from damage. Oh, as we run him into a mech. Oh, what was I saying? There's so much in this game. It's hard to... Oh, we lost our other one. As you can see, that the amount of money it takes to get them back is quite a lot. Now, these big white guys are scary. You need to watch out for these guys. Oh, yeah. I died. Wow, I died because I wasn't paying attention. Well, that's what I get. I'm dead. Okay, well, we unlocked this. You know what? Let's show one more character. I'm going to show you the Huntress that I used to like. I love this game so much because of the replayability. Dying is going to happen. You are going to die. It's inevitable. But the reason why I was jumping so much is you want to stay out of the melee range, see? So, like, my engineer had no ability to really get out of it outside of jumping and positioning. Now, most of the characters, especially these lighter characters, such as the Huntress right here, will have a dash, a jump, a something. So, as you can see right there, which I've botched completely. You know what? Let's go this way. And that is almost always, if you're using a gamepad, the L1 ability. The L1's usually the movement ability. You can see me here being able to move around. We can use my R1 ability. It's a arrow that shoots, and on impact, it'll explode into little grenades. And my glide, which is L2, and it'll bounce off enemies. Every enemy that it hits will do an extra 30% of damage. So that's really good. So I can actually hit quite a few enemies all at once, and continue to kite them around, which is really nice. You will notice already that I'm taking massively more damage than I was with the engineer, and if you play someone like Handy or the others, they take even less damage because they just have so much health. And that's definitely something you want to look at when you're deciding, especially with multiplayer, who you want to play with. You can play the same one, and I actually like to cheese the game a little bit by bidding a bunch of engineers and shooting off their little... Oh, nope. These guys are annoying. And shooting off their rockets up in the air, which I actually didn't do too much of the last run. Now, barbed wire is going to hurt all the enemies around me, which it says. The descriptions on the game that the developers gave us are actually really good, and I really recommend what it says is what it does. Don't try and second guess it. Ooh. It's actually, you know, they're not trying to trick you. Now, the one thing here you'll see is because I can kite and move around, I'm not actually aiming where she fires. Like, I'm aiming now, but if an enemy's close to me, she'll target onto the nearest enemy and just fire at them. So you'll notice that that kind of gets a little awkward at first if you're not used to the game, but I think it's great. Nice. Money over time. Really, really good. Nothing over here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to sit and farm a couple dollars while we wait and kill this guy so I can get that chest. I am super loot hungry in this game, and it pays off. There's over 100 items. Ooh, the banner. I like this item. All the items are good, too. None of the items I've seen pick up and say, it's like, oh, because now you have this, you have positive and a negative to it, or just a negative. No, they're all positive. They're all good. They all stack with each other, too. So if I would have got another piggy bank, I would actually get gold over time even faster. And it also works for any of your multiplayer people, too. I don't know if that's on purpose or not, but at the point of when I've been playing, it's really nice to have like 2 or 3 people have it, and they all combine into everybody getting some gold faster. And gold is huge in this game. And I will use that on-use item in a little bit, but right now I'm just going to kind of move around. I'm looking for a red teleporter, and that's going to start the boss, and that'll have me have to explain even more information. There is so much going on in this game, it's ridiculous. But it's something after you play a couple times you understand, and you can devise your own strategies. Now here's a shrine, kind of like gambling. We're going to use it, and that's exactly kind of what I wanted. So I'm actually going to give up the mirror, which actually probably quite a few purists are going to get really pissed off at me about, because it creates a double of me. That double does everything that I do. So it shoots, it does normal attacks, it does advanced attacks like my abilities right here, which you can see when I use them will have a cooldown timer, similar to a MOBA, but I really feel that comparing this game to a MOBA is not fair to the game, because, you know, nothing against MOBAs, but there's a lot more going on under the hood than this. So, there we go. You can, from what I can tell... Oh, nice, the banner. Every time I level, the banner is going to give me massive bonuses to attack speed and movement speed when I'm in it. And that'll stay there permanently on this stage. So, and oh, nice. Heals after kills. Nice. Very good. We're getting a good run. And that'll stay permanently, and I can have multiple ones. Okay, so I failed that shrine, so it just gave me experience. And that's our first elite enemy, too. So you can see he's not only a different color, but he has kind of a little spot over his health bar. That's going to indicate that he's an elite. Now, I can sit around and actually, well, go ahead and kill him if I felt like it. The problem with that, though, is as I see in the top, there's actually, well, the difficulty's going up. It's not very easy still, once again. But I believe at 5 minutes it goes up. Oh, nice. Dealing damage heals me, too. These are really, really nice things. This is a regeneration out of combat, I think. That's regeneration, period, health regeneration, and that does the, once again, the damage to nearby enemies. Okay, we're going to open up our chest, some gold, and experience. The nice thing, too, is once you get it, it follows you no matter where you are. Ooh, I'm going to get this, too. Chance of double damage. All right, so let's see. What do we got? Okay, Magworm. Magworm's a pretty high proc chance, actually, off the first level. So that's no real big surprise. I do want to show off some other enemies to you guys. There are really cool enemies. Nice, my explosive arrows destroyed him. Glaive should do a lot. And one more explosive arrow, and he should be done. Oh, jetpack. Rusty jetpack. Okay, the rusty jetpack isn't as good. It just increases my jump height and reduces gravity a little bit. There is a photon jetpack that allows you to fly for, I think, about 1.6 seconds. So we're going to have 90 seconds that we need to survive. And then we just need to pretty much clean up the enemies after that. So let's go ahead and kill a bunch of these guys. Once again, every time I'm hitting, every time I'm killing, you're seeing the little blue
Or blue, wow, I'm colorblind now too. The green icons, the little circles flying towards me, and they're giving me green text, and that's healing. So, it just should be relatively familiar to anybody that's played a lot of games, but, still. Alright, so I'm going to use my on-use item that has a big cooldown, but they always have really nice effects. And that's going to, every time I hit, and ooh, shite. One of the fire elites, those guys are brutal. They drop fire at their ground, plus they're doing melee damage. Yeah, every time I hit enemies during that bar, during the active ability, I'm going to get money. As you can see, a ton of money. I'm also going to start needing to use my teleport more often. I've been playing the engineer way too much, and I'm not used to having some type of mobile. Like Handy, the big robot guy, has one that gives him speed boost, and I think an attack speed too. And then the engineer doesn't have anything. The commando, I think that was his name, has a roll. She has a little teleport dodge. And Acrid, the little alien guy, he looks kind of like these guys. His character design is actually one of the coolest. He's a four-legged monster and has a ball and chain attached to him, which animates and stuff. Really cool guy. He has a slime trail that he can give that boosts speed for you and allies that are on it and slows down enemies on it. So really cool. So we have a ton of money. Holy hell. As you can see, the mortar is actually proccing right there too. Let's grab regeneration. So every once in a while, the mortar will proc and it'll shoot out mortars. And we've cleared this stage. Now, you'll see 48 damage. Not much for falling probably like half the stage. But even though we can go on to the next stage, and we're probably actually going to go up in difficulty by the time we get there, I want to try and spend some of this money. Once again, the money will only give us experience when we're done, which can be really good. I like items. We got another drone. There's actually a rocket drone and a healing drone, too, that heals you. And there's an item, too, that you can pick up a lot of times from the bosses, but you can find them in other places, that will give them gigantic subwoofers. And they're not actually subwoofers, I just call them that. They're actual rocket pods on each side. They'll do their regular damage, plus they'll shoot rockets, too, which is really, really cool. Okay, so let's move on. Kind of want to look. I really should. The nice thing about this game, too, besides the fact that it has a ton of items, a lot of replayability, good graphics, fun characters, amazing multiplayer, especially for only being an alpha, is the fact that there's this time constraint. It pushes you forward. Like, right now, I'm stressing quite a bit because I know I shouldn't be wasting time here. But, Shrine, okay, so we're going to get barbed wire again. That's going to stack. Oh, wow. And our soldier syringe. That's going to increase my attack speed, which is actually pretty useful for this character. You can see already it's increasing it quite a bit. And since we're already here, is there anything else? There might have been something up there. Oh, yep, okay. Let's take that. We'll climb up a little bit, take a look. Oh, nice. Smart shopper. Enemies drop extra gold. So we're actually getting a lot of items that are going to help me get quite a bit of money, which hasn't been too big of a problem because of our piggy bank. But this is going to help us become stronger faster. And really, you're going to want to get better. That second stage, I should have never died on the engineer. But, well, I'm bad at video games. Usually, I think, personally, the third stage is when you start really noticing it ramping up difficulty. Once you get the hang of things. Once you start out, you're going to die a lot. But you get used to your character, and it becomes muscle memory. What button does what ability. That, for me, was kind of the hard part for me, is learning, okay, what button, without having to look at the controller or the keyboard, I use controller personally, does what. Let's jump up here. And let's move on. Now, the thing about multiplayer is that it does make it harder, and you do have to kind of fight. Like if you pick up an item at one of the shops, and I call them shops, they're like the three, there's the shrine up in the top left. That's a gambling thing. It will raise money for everybody when you use it. But there's like 3 items in a row, and you can pick one. I call those shops. I just think they look like shops. And then the chest, too. If someone grabs them, they're gone. So you could have somebody that just takes all the items in the game, and you're kind of boned that way. I always forget that I can't go through that. So you kind of want to have people in your group or your team, that kind of are like-minded. Maybe you want to give like the health up to the quote-unquote tank. Oh god, one of those guys. These guys are brutal. Or maybe you want to give maybe more damage to someone that wants to do more damage, like maybe the Huntress or something like that. It's all dependent, once again, on how you play, who you're playing with. There's no, I would say, one right way to play, you know, like this is how you have to play. I think there's a lot of discussion either on the forums or between just the people I play with, like Spooter from Paranautical Activity, of how to play and what the best is. He actually really likes Handy. I can't stand Handy because I am a coward and I want ranged. That's why I picked this character off the bat. But then once we started getting better and then later, I started getting one shot. These guys get really difficult. But it makes it fun. Okay, don't give me Magma Worm. With my luck, it's giving me... Gosh darn it! Honestly, there are different bosses. It just... And I apologize to the developer for my luck not showing off the different bosses. Ooh, that's good. That's the big leech. What that'll do is it'll give me massive life leech when I hit. That's... Come on, remember how to play the game. The reason I don't pick that up right now, especially since I could probably really use it, to be honest, is that they're on a... because I've already used my big use item, my spacebar item, I guess is one way to call it, for the Isaac people out there, is they're all on not one global cooldown, because different ones have different... Oh, shoot, it went away. They all have different cooldowns depending on the item. But... because I've already used my spacebar item, as I call it, I have to wait until that cooldown's refreshed for that slot before I can use another one. So same thing, like let's say if I find 2 of them, you couldn't just use one and then pick it up again and then use it. Oh, perfect. Okay, so I gotta kind of, I want to stay in the banner, but I need to stay out of range of getting smacked in the face, because these guys, the melee enemies, do massive damage. Especially, once again, the white fathers. I call them fathers. Why I think that's kind of what they're called. Oh. Once again, the bestiary in the game I think adds a lot to the fun of the game, because you can actually go ahead and read about the enemies. Now you can just make it up as you go, I guess, too. But I don't know. I like that. I always think games should have like a monster bestiary, just in case you really get into the game. Maybe you want to find out more about what the hell is killing you, or actually call it a real name instead of one explicitive after the other. All right. See, staying in the banner as much as possible. Completely didn't... Oh, no, I think I actually used it. There we go. Use the Goliath to do multiple hits, and then we're going to use my... Oh, nice. Shackles. Shackles are really good. So as we hit enemies, we're going to slow them, which you can see is going to be something that's really good for my character, especially since we do have an increased attack speed. I can make sure they stay slowed as much as possible. What would actually probably be good right here is there's an item that every 4 shots does a piercing shot, which would actually be really nice right here, because then I could slow large groups of enemies. Okay. I wish Spooter was here, because then he could take all the damage. And if I had my engineer here, so you can see like there's enemies up above me and enemies that I need to go look for, I can actually use his harpoon hooks to launch into the air, and they'll seek out the enemies. Later on, it's not as useful because the enemies don't just kill over dead when you use that item, or that ability. But it's still really nice, because I can go and look around for items as I'm killing people. Every few seconds, as soon as the ability comes up, I'll just shoot them off and keep moving. There's another one up there. The mortars, as you can see, the mortars are they're not bad. It's not a bad item. I'm not a big fan of it. It just randomly shoots kind of in a curve. And because I'm such a coward, I try and stay away from enemies as much as possible. You'll see a big reason why as I get to the 3rd stage in just a bit. Nice. We got the ukulele, which will do just randomly does damage, electric damage to nearby enemies, I believe. Oh, infusion, nice. Very useful for and spike trip. So when we get hit, I think we drop the spike trip, or when we get low health. You guys probably could have read it. But the infusion, every time we kill an enemy, we permanently gain max health. This is something that's really useful, and I try to always give to whoever happens to be tanking, quote unquote, in the game. I don't know what the other characters that they're going to be releasing. There seems to be 3 more, I'm assuming, for release. And then the one I haven't unlocked, although he's not going to be a tank. But I would assume that there's going to be like kind of a tankish, damage-absorbing character. And I'd like to see more kind of supportive team-based characters too, because now that they've added a multiplayer, which once again is still in alpha, the game really, I think, is fun anyway, but man, multiplayer is where it's at. Nice cube of meat. People drop healing items that heal everybody, I believe. And wow, double gold over time. And you'll see up in the top left, it's almost twice as fast. Maybe 50% increased gold over time. Really good stuff. It's really good stuff. And you'll notice that the items start to add up. Wait until you see some of the really cool people that I've met that have actually gone like an hour and a half, 2 hours in a run because they just don't die in single player. And they just have items like covering the bottom of the screen. Just, it's crazy. All right. So now the snow stage isn't a stage I see a lot, actually. It's a very vertical stage. And, oh, and I'm going to fail. Oh, wait, is the snow stage always a third stage? I forget. I've been playing too much multiplayer lately. Whoa! Oh, I forget these guys. These little ninjas suck. They start getting really good. The enemies in the game start kicking your living butt. And also, once again, I have no one to blame it on, so I'm gonna blame it on my character when I die. It's again when I die. It's not a matter of if I die. It's gonna be a matter of when. Now, the one thing too I need to probably be doing is going ahead, instead of dicking around with the enemy, especially since I have gold over time, I need to go and actually probably find the boss. That would be a good call. Because on the 3rd level and at a certain difficulty level on the graph, and I would assume maybe even on the hardcore difficulty, which you can get off the bat by choosing it, it starts to spawn monsters that are bosses as regular monsters. So that really sucks. Okay, this guy actually might not be too bad. I can kind of keep him. Oh god, the little bison guys do a ton of damage. Luckily, we have really fast attack speed. If we can get a level, we can get our banner up. Things aren't lost. Oh, God, they're lost. Everything's lost. Oh, that's been so long since I played this game. But it's still damn fun. Oh. Oh. Well, we shot off a nice, cool red rocket before we died. Well, we've passed away. It'll show you all our records. So this was an 18-minute run. My God, it does not feel like it. All the different purchases, all our gold, our items and such, which you can then see all the items that we have unlocked, all the ones that will be unlocked, and then our high scores. It's really cool. There's really a good amount of stats in this game. It really, trust me, is worth picking up. Scene challenges. Recommend doing those unlockables. As always, though, everyone, if you're interested in supporting Risk of Rain and Hopoo Games, please check out the information in the video description below. Please also find them on Steam Greenlight and give them a vote. Trust me, it really, really helps. Also, for more indie preview and review goodness, check out youtube.com/Pixabyte, the home of everything indie. Thank you all for watching, and have a good day. Okay, parents. Yeah, I was kind of close. These guys are brutal.